Bonjour, my brothers and my sisters. Hola to you all. Konnichiwa to all of you just watching. Bonjour from the rise and fall. And this is where I'm gonna end this song. Thank you for joining me today. Um, Welcome to another video, into a video of our Father's edifying in us. And we are here once more. All right. Now, of course, as usual, we're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to know better. Okay. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I am a know-it-all, I am the best, or woo woo woo. No, I'm not, and I will not do that. All right. But being somebody that has been seeing a lot of stuff and the practices obviously work. I'm not here to deceive you. And if you think I am, pray and ask for discernment and ask that your eyes be not fooled, but that you are filled with the influence of our Elohim. All right? For most people would not tell you exactly what I tell you, or they will tell you exactly what they go to learn in these Christian schools and colleges, based off the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the elders and the chief priests, doctrines and teachings. Because most people, they get a doctor's on being a pastor, thinking that's what qualifies them to teach. But enough of that. Let's actually let's get to the word. All right? Yeah. Um what is the topic of today? Obviously, the topic of today is your faith and loyalty will show ELI'S favor in you. All right? Why is that? Now, if you have a job, right, so called, and the terms and conditions is to be respectful, to show up, to be nice, to deliver the products, however the procedure is taught to you, right? And you do not even do the one thing is to show up. You think you're gonna get paid? And I always say this when it comes to accountability, when it comes to what is it called? Non-believers or believers. A lot of believers think it's money. That's why I use money as a reference, right? And you have the non-believers that want miracles. So their expectations don't meet the requirements. It's like adapting, right? You can't adapt to a scenario if your body don't read it doesn't meet the requirements to the conditions. It's a give and take, right? We were given life in this world that is called a reality, a realm, a dimension, right? That is fixated on potential, relativity. So since sin is a construct, sin became a nature due to people's desire and their lust over those things. So therefore, it's a behavior, it's a thought pattern, it's the attribute of how people conceive and let alone their perception of either accepting or denying. So if there's a world without sin and there's a creator that can do anything, why would our Elohim not be somebody that exists, but then yet also people call him narcissist, but they expect him to make miracles and they don't even believe. Like literally, you don't believe, but you want a miracle. You know that is insanity, right? That's real insanity. For those that are watching, please, I love you. Don't think that I don't love you. For even those that are non believers, or believers, however that it is, I love you all. But let's be realistic with that, right? Because I get attacked on a daily. And the reason why I'm protected is I know because I have faith. Even if it be my last breath right now, I would die happy knowing that my faith is true. For it comes from my heart, my spirit says so, my mind is set on it, and my heart is defined to be forever absolute. So, regardless, this is how we're supposed to live our life. Where our life, right? It says, love what? In the commandments. Love our Father with all our might, all our heart, all our strength, and all our heart. So that means you put Him first before everything. And a lot of people don't. Every time they do something, they want something in exchange. It's one thing if if you act on somewhat you consider an exchange of, like, equal share values. Supposedly it helps to sustain life in your environment. But most people don't care. They see homeless people, they got billions of dollars. They will go to an island and pass that one homeless person. They have more than enough to help the person work for them. I mean, let's just be realistic, right? There's not there's not enough money. There's so much money in the world, right? That there's not enough people that money, right, cannot be given to everybody, and people still then people will still be rich. If every billionaire to millionaire right now, right, gave a sum of half of whatever that they own to replenish the inflation of this government, right, to people over their ruling, the establishment of their businesses and livelihood. Everybody right now in this very moment, right? Everybody right now in this very moment will not have to be dealing with no problems. Matter of fact, the rich will still be rich, and they will even become much richer because now price of value has increased, right? Not only has price of value has increased, but the totality of how people margin their products and their productivity and their personal affairs will be then sectioned properly, because why? Everybody can afford. Now there's more so now the impact of who's going to be careless of how much they can afford, right? Because they can either be selfish, meaning in the sense of greed, or they can be conservative. And regardless, those two things are influences. Those are what do they call it? Constructs, right? Of an influence. Those are constructs of influences. Greed. Greed is an influence. And what do we call spirits? Influence. And that's the same thing with the word alcohol, which is called spirit, being an influence. I'm just saying, right? Now, enough of that, because we're going to get too far into that, and it's just a paradox that just won't end, right? I'm not here to give you guys an hour long video, somewhat 30 minutes to about 45, like I usually tell you, because I understand I myself don't like watching these hour long videos. So I try to attribute these things to your liking as well. Oh, forgive me. Now, upon today, right? I was led to this number, right? And the number is 411719. Now, doing a bit some digging, right? Doing a bit of some digging, right? I landed on three chapters, three chronicles. My apologies. The first chronicle being First John, right? Second chronicle being Matthew's, right? And the third being First Kings, right? And now First John we're gonna read, which is what? Chapter 4, verses 7 through 19. And let's get started. And this is just more so a translation, so a shortened basically summary of the word itself, because like I said, an hour long would be quite diabolical, and I don't want you guys to, you know, feel how I know you guys would end up feeling. So let's just do this properly, and let's get started. All right. All right. So it says, "Dear friends, let us love each other, for love comes from our Elohim. Christ is the sign of love, for he was sacrificed for us so that we'd be here. Your act of love shows the love of Eli in you and the need for other things, well, in you, and the need for other things will no longer matter. So love conquers all. This is seen as proof that he is in us as we are of him. So know that your acceptance of Yahusha, right, plays a vital part of your journey to Yahuwah. For Eli is love. So whoever that lives of love lives of our Elohim, right? For judgment shall come, and you shall be confident of the verdict, for we shall be like unto Christ. Just like love, fear will not overcome you, for fear brings out guilt and doubt. I'm going to say that one more time. Just like love, fear will not overcome you, for fear brings out guilt and doubt. So we love because Eli loved us first. So a lot of the people, like I made a reference earlier, right? They want miracles for the unbelievers and some believers, right? You got to understand the reason why some things like miracles do not occur in the sense of what you want is because you have fear and you have doubt. There's one thing denying temptation, is another thing denying, right, what is good. If you know fire burns, why would you go and touch fire? No matter if, mind you, it says if 10,000 are to my what? To my left or my right, right? Even if it's up or down, back and forth. If people tell you that no, walk into the fire. But yes, let's just say that Christ told us that fire burns. You know that fire burns. You touched fire before. So why would you walk over there if possibly 80,000 to 100,000 people told you that fire is okay to touch? It makes no sense. Love conquers all. For you know when somebody has the love of our Elohim in him, it's because he shows it towards everyone. Like for example, I might disagree with people that are gay, but it doesn't mean that I hate them. I don't hate none of those people. Like mind you, like I use the word people. I'm a person just like every person that talk, every person that I come across. I just don't like when people try to force stuff on me. It's one thing where if I go to your platform and I come there basically because that's considered harassment. But it's another thing if you're forcing this all over and then you're not even being reasonable and you're using words as a tactic to try to convey a narrative that's literally not practical. If you are a man and you like men or you're attracted to men, that's your choice. But you're not going to sit to me in front of me, right? And say that a man can be a woman. No matter how many times you said, however ways you said, you like a lot of people that are in that community like to cling on to the word gender because they know that gender is just a biased term to basically construct, or you can say, yeah, because I was going to use the word, to basically create a social construct to identify as, meaning it's an acceptance. If people deny it, then it's not true. But because they have made it so clear and they have thought of it, right? People are accepting it. But that don't mean that it's still true because logically there are two sexes. There are only two sexes, man and woman. No matter the amount of surgeries you do, you can't change the XY and the XX chromosomes that you have within your body. You're born with a genitalia, right? That shows either a stick or a hole. That same thing goes for women as well, because I don't discriminate here when it comes to me talking. So, like I said, I'm not here to tell you that it's okay because it's not okay to me. Because a lot of people, dysphoria, that's the word. Somebody was trying to use a word, they said gender dysphoria. And and in my mind, I'm like, hey, you can't give examples of gender dysphoria and say that these people are dealing with depression and not only depression but trauma and all of this stuff if it's not a mental illness, because the only way you go through these things is if you are dealing with something that causes these things to occur, which therefore supports the claim that having these type of relationships, right, is actually considered a mental illness. And it's not to deprive anybody from being joyful or being happy. But at the end of the day, a lot of the people, it's not everybody, but there are a lot of people that go through traumatic situations. Give me one moment, please. I'm back. But there are a lot of people that go through traumatic situations. And that's what I don't personally like. And I don't think nobody should ever go through any of those things. But I can understand things happen in this world. That's why we have to be very careful. We have to be very protective, vigilant on how we protect each other. Because that's the reason why people feel uncomfortable of them being themselves, right? Because they think that if something like that happens to you, right, where you get raped, right, you can't tell nobody because you're going to get judged. Some people are afraid because they have people that might hurt them. However those things go, these things are problematic because, like I said, social constructs, right, are made because everybody has their ideals, and because people like to gatekeep, people like to make fun, people of the world, they have no patience, they have no love, they have no understanding. These are the reason why corruption has spread so much to a point where mental illness has been considered the norm. I don't like to sit here and talk about stuff like this all the time, but I actually care about people because at the end of the day, if you think that if something bad happens to you, that it's not going to make you feel some type of way, a lot of people are wrong and stupid if they don't think so. And that's just not the only thing. There are people that have influences because we have words like nurture and nature, right? Nurture is the influence that is being given onto you, even if it's not forced, right? Which still impacts that scenario that I just gave previously, right? Nurture is the aspect of the influence that could be external. It's not really an internal thing because when you are young, you don't really know what is what unless you are exposed to that type of knowledge. The same way there are a lot of LGBTQ communities that are going to talk to children. If that's what you choose, that's your choice. I'm not going to be like, no, people shouldn't be made aware of this. That's your choice. But imagine the little kids, right, that their parents will disagree with what you're teaching to the kids. They're not going to be enough acceptance of this. And by you doing that, because you are allowed to go to the school, you are disrespecting the parent that brought the child in the world. You don't take care of the kid. You don't know who this kid is. What if the parent might not like what you're doing? Like I said, influence matter. And some people, they don't care because, like I said, there are a lot of people that consider themselves Christians and they still taking and doing these type of activities, right? And they consider themselves Christians. And you have some that just hate Christianity because they know better. They know that Christianity, and mind you, I don't follow religion. Christ told us to love everybody, but the commandments still stand thick and thin regardless. Because no matter at the end of the day, when we look at all species, is to procreate. Even sentient beings, even if it's off of their own cells, they still procreate because there are two things that give them a reason to live. Therefore, it also goes all of the nutritions and all of this conversions and all of these things that are inputted in these scenarios for it to therefore survive basically in whatever environment that is given to them. Okay, but enough of that. Let's get into the next chronicle, which is of Matthew's, and the chapter is 4, um, verses 7 through 19. All right. In this one, like the previous chronicle, it's a summary as well to the understanding of what it's supposed to be. And it says, throughout all the temptations, stand true to your principles. Always, no matter the high mountains, treasures, and seductive extremities thrown at you. Remember to denounce those devils and Satans, for they show you only delusions. And this is when Christ was going down, going through the mountains. And when, the devils came to tempt him, trying to give him everything, all this glorious, shiny stuff that just absolutely didn't matter to him at all whatsoever. Right? Ooh, excuse me, brothers and sisters. I felt like the force was gonna be with me with that one. I didn't know which way to go. All right. But let's continue though. Remember, in your oh, did I say that wrong? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Remember, oh, okay. I definitely wrote that wrong, but I know exactly what I was trying to write. Remember, in your good or either bad, only truth is what stands. Is of only truth is what stands, and it's of our Eli, and it's of Eli. My apologies, and everything else is irrelevant. No matter the good, if it's your triumph or your tribulations, you triumph over all. You're made a conqueror. You're not made little, you're made to have a sound mind. You're made to have logical mindsets. You're made to have love in your heart. To show that love, to be the love, extremely, extremely. So don't be afraid because it's not meant to, it's not, hate is not meant to exist the way that we are. Also show hate, because there's one thing disliking something, but hate is the extreme. So understand, when you dislike something and there's hate, that means there's an influence that go from, let's just say that disliking can reach the highest level of 5, but 10 also exists, right? It's a potential that 10 can possibly exist. You got something that you have something that comes and drive you from point 0.5, which should be your normal max, all the way to 10. and make it extreme, so much that somebody can even lose their life. This is how these devils and these entities work. They understand the concept of relativity. That's why the things that we attach to ourselves, all it does is either strengthens us or weakens us, and they use that against us. The things we watch, the things we think, the things we listen to, see, hear, do, all of these things either strengthens us or weakens us. But the number one thing is guilt and faith. They contradict each other. Guilt and faith, they contradict each other. Faith is hope. Guilt is doubt. Because you can't have faith if you have guilt. Because that means that you're in a doubting moment. It's like saying, if I have a gun, a pistol, right? And I shoot the pistol, right? Now, do me knowing exactly the concept of what the pistol is, if I doubt the pistol, right? Am I gonna know where to put the bullets in? Or let's just say that a bullet is alive. Is it gonna doubt the trajectory of which is launched to? Is it gonna be like, I don't know, I might not be a bullet. I don't know what is I don't know what is horizontal or vertical. Let me just go up. But yet I pointed it at you, right? Yahuwah forbid. It's crazy to me. There's all of this. Let me not say that, because it's not relevant right now. It was relevant in a previous statement. That I had said before now. But let's continue though. What does it say? For these devils and Satans will come to tempt you always until their end time is up. So every day they're gonna try you. Just know that if it's not through somebody you care about, which is usually the first thing that they always do, it's always through the things you care about or the people you care about. So if it's not between those two things, they're going to get somebody to then be cool with you so that they can then betray you, or that they can then try to move you away from the truth, or they can try to disrespect you or convey you, or however that was relevant to the first one, but doesn't matter. They're very sneaky. There's nothing new under the sun. They can only do but so much. And they're working extra over hours time, right? Because they know that their time is coming. That's why they're creating all of these scenarios. Because the biggest trick that the devil can give to man is to make man feel like to make man feel that our creator don't exist. That's the first one. Then you have the second one, which is what? That our creator already left us. That's the second one. First is our Elohim. That's what they want. They want people to think that our Elohim don't exist. The second one, right, is for them to think. Is for them to make it so, and it's for them to make people think that Christ passed us by. Because if people think that Christ passed us by, people have no reason to no longer believe. Then they can have control. Until however these situations and conditions are settled, it already has been prophesied for either one or two. There are other options as well, but we're not going to list them in this video because this is not what the topic's about right now. Those two are very relevant because that's what we're seeing at the current moment. One, not believing. Two, believing already it happened. That's why they're creating scenarios to confuse you. Because if they could confuse you, either with one, you not believing, or two, it already had happened, they can have you. You become now a robot. You become now AI. You have no longer will or choices because they like to be copycats so much. They don't have their own identity. Although they like to make people think that people are gods, quote unquote, the word God. And I don't even use that. I'm pretty sure you guys caught on to that from the previous videos. And I keep those videos up because as you continue to watch, you see the progression of exactly the terms and the, even back then I was reading the word, but I'm still giving people understanding of what was, what was the actual truth. Now it's more so I have to be vocalizing this a little bit more than before because a lot of people cannot understand if they a lot of people want to eat the steak, the lamb chops, the pork chops, right? But they haven't even drank milk yet. They haven't grew teeth. And don't think that I'm better than anybody because I'm not. I'm on the same boat as you all. That's why I come here to talk to you. I might have grew a couple of teeth, right? That don't mean that my teeth is strong enough to bite all of the hard, I don't know, shark meat, boar, I don't know what, goat meat, whatever the case is. I'm just saying. And I speak to a lot of people that have knowledge, but knowledge doesn't save you. Knowledge helps you understand, but then there are things that you won't be able to understand because why? Your knowledge is dimensional, meaning you're only working and operating either in the first dimension, second dimension, and third dimension, right? The fourth dimension is where the in between wall comes from spiritual and physical, but it's still the lesser mass. It's still the higher what density and lower mass where you can get a sense of things, but you still can't see. The fifth dimension, all of them, is still one within the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. There's still one. So if you are a three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional being that exists on all of the other dimensions, all the way to the 12th, that means that your perception, if you are in the fifth, allows you to understand concepts. You deconstruct, you construct. You exist in the time loop of people consider and say that time don't exist. But although it's a concept, if it's a concept, that means it exists because you accepted the terms of that ideology. I can denounce it and it no longer exists. It's not going to change that the sun is going to be up and that the moon is going to come when it's nighttime and the sun is going to be up and it's going to be daytime. It's going to be day and the night. It's not going to change that. So it's very, usable, or it's very relevant to to the circumstances of our nature of who we are. Otherwise, people that do witchcraft, they don't wait until the summer solstice, right? Or let alone to wait for a full moon or a half moon, right? To do all of these magical practices. They don't wait for a red moon, a blue moon. They don't wait for none of those. Because if they didn't wait for none of those, some of their stuff wouldn't be working, right? They wouldn't be juiced up. Practical. Practical. But let's finish this. All right. The next word statement says, "Remember, you have authority over them." Uh huh. Oh yeah. Remember. Let me repeat that one more time. Remember, you have authority over them. Oh, and three-time rules do not repeat yourself after that when you cast them away. So for the three-time rules is if you denounce and you cast them away and you say three times, don't focus on them. You already told them they know better. They know their place. Give it to your father, as you should always. They abide by certain rules themselves, and they know better. The three-time rules exist for a reason. I mean, sometimes the first time they're gonna try. Like, let me remind you, just because you cast them away doesn't mean that they're not gonna come to still bother you. But they have to leave. They have to depart from you because you said it more than once and you meant it. That's why faith is important, because your faith shows exactly what you accept and what you don't accept. The coincidence is that they have to obey. That is their job. It doesn't matter how strong, what hierarchy, what denomination, monarchy, patriarchal, whatever power that they institute on people. It's nothing but a delusion. That's why they give you fear, because if they impose fear, you then you get sucked up in their domain. So then now they have rulership over the aerial effect of the things that happen. When people watch these animes, I want you guys to start looking at these animes in a different perspective, because this stuff is real. People say domain expansion. It's not a joke for those that do not understand spirituality. And some of these animators, they know their stuff. They tell you what is going on. But it's either you have your eyes closed or you have your eyes open. That's why if I choose to watch anime, I know exactly what I'm watching. Let alone even if it's realistic life, movies or YouTube stuff, whatever the case is, I see exactly what is actually exact. I see up when I see up. I see down when I see down. I see left when I see left, and I see right when I see right. Doesn't matter if they show left, and although they show left and it's supposed to look right, I see left. I know that it's supposed to look right. I understand the narrative. Okay? Keep a sharp mind always. Now, I do a bit of digging, and I want you guys to go to sleep with this first. So the time frame of 4/17/19, which is what, April the 7th and the 19th, right? What had happened on that day is what armed forces will were invaded. My apologies. Armed forces invaded the West and reclaimed power over the political parties, which start with a power outage from an anti-government governing protest that will put many to most innocent people at a disadvantage. So a lot of people, like I keep telling you, a lot of these things are going to come from the east. A lot of these chaotic situations are going to come from the east. The dream that I had was over the water. So the waters that are going to be over east, right, are going to invade these territories. It's not going to be down there. I mean, yes, there's a lot of stuff going on down there. It's going to invade Babylon, because this is the modern Babylon right now. Every other state, anywhere, right, they speak their own language. Here is the main only place where, like, literally every culture to every nation come here. There's not one African that's not here. There's not one European that's not here. Even though that's what majority of you that are Caucasian are, from the Caucasus Mountain, your European background and history, majority of you are here. Doesn't matter if you're from the barbaric lands of the Icelands, and I'm not saying that you are. Give me one moment. And I'm not saying that you are barbaric, but your ancestors, they were wild, crazy. All right, no disrespect, because a lot of people, I'm like, hey, you know, colored people, they have a background of war and disrespect and a lot of crazy stuff too. You for sure. You sure right about that. And I don't agree with it. That's why I say what I said. All ethnicities are here. Like I said, resemblance, coincidence, all languages. Woo, woo, woo. And most of these languages derive from a root anyway. So some of these languages that we call all of this, if you want to call it Christian, if you want to call it French, Latin, English, Spanish, right? They all derive from a root language, which can be traced back from the Babylonian time. But we're not going to talk about too much about the Persians. There's too much going on with that. All right. What are the next statements? This next statement says, then a new religious leader will be elected, like the Vaticans and the popes. So these things are to happen. Like I told you, I don't know what's going to happen to people, but start learning how to turn off your devices, your phones, laptops, whatever the case is. If you need to keep one phone on, if you need a, that's you, whatever the case is. But turn off even your Wi-Fi when you go to sleep. All of that, because these people are not playing no games. They are not playing no games. They for sure are not. They for sure are not. And the last chronicle, which is First Kings chapter 4, verses 7 through 19. And instead of reading the whole entire thing, I actually wrote a short statement for that, which is the true believers will be given authority, just like Solomon. He was given reign over 12 regions of Israel. We will be given authority. Like I said, a lot of people like to deem other people kings and queens, but remember, you can't deem something to somebody when you don't even have that power yourself to do so to yourself. Only relatives of those that are from the kingship bloodline can only do so. That's why we have things like a heritage. Those things come with power. It comes with items, treasure, knowledge, wisdom, and everything of the above. So when you're not a part of the heritage, just like from Sir Abraham, Sir Isaac, Sir Yahweh, it doesn't come unto you. But unfortunately, why I say unfortunately, but fortunately, our Father can make any stone become what? An heir of his promise. Make anything become anything. So you're good. Stop being toxic, brothers and sisters, because I don't have much else to say. And it's getting close to that time. I love you all. I pray that you are favored, that you enjoy the rest of your day, and that love come upon you, that you be in love, that you show love, that you show respect, and that you keep and honor your word, that you speak truth always. I don't care even if somebody try to cut off your tongue. Speak the truth. No lies. Don't lie. I'm gonna consider you fake if you do. All right. But of course, you already know what's about to happen. Ah, much love to you. And if somebody told you they don't love you today, tell them I said I love you, and I love them. So if they don't like my kiss, another one, DJ Khaled. Mwah. All right. No song today at the end. Early. I just don't personally. Please, I got you guys with another video. All right. It might not be the next one. It might be the next one. It might not be. But I'll definitely let you know. All right. Take care.